Hello, everybody. This is Jack with MajorLeagueTrading.com coming at you with your weekly Nadex video. To begin the video, we'll talk about the news events for the upcoming week. It is Halloween, so I hope you all get lots of candy, trick or treats, and enjoy the holiday. Be festive. So on Monday, we're going to have a JPY monetary policy statement, and the time is tentative, so we don't know when that'll be out as of right now, but be looking for that to move the yen on Monday. Followed up on Tuesday, we have the Bank of Japan Outlook Report, the Bank of Japan Policy Rate, the Bank of Japan Press Conference. So obviously the JPY, which you have Euro JPY, USD JPY, and Great Britain Pound JPY. You have all three of those pairs to trade around those timeframes. Then on 8:30, we have Canadian GDP on Tuesday, followed up by consumer confidence at 10:30 or 10 o'clock for the US dollar. And then the Bank of Canada Governor Polaz will be speaking at 3:30 p.m. Moving on to Wednesday, we have the Great Britain Pound manufacturing PMI at 5:30, and there's a French bank holiday as well as an Italian bank holiday for the European markets on Wednesday, so they could be a little slower. At 8:15, we're going to have non-farm payrolls at 10 a.m., ISM manufacturing PMI at 10:30, as always on Wednesday, crude oil inventories, and then we have the FOMC statement followed up by the federal funds rate at 2 o'clock. Trade balance at 8:30 p.m. for the Australian dollar on Wednesday as well, so pay attention to those of you who trade after work. If you have a 9 to 5, I really like paying attention to those AUD news events because typically they're happening when you're off work if you get off by 8:30. And then on Thursday, 5:30 a.m., we have construction PMI for the Great Britain Pound, followed up by 4 different reports at 8 a.m., which is the Bank of England inflation report, MPC official bank rate, votes, monetary policy statement, the official bank rate for the Great Britain Pound. So once again, 8 a.m. on Thursday, big mover for the Great Britain Pound. And then retail sales for the Australian dollar as well at 8:30 p.m. on Thursday. On Friday, finally, we have unemployment change for the Canadian dollar, followed up by trade balance and unemployment rate. And then for the US dollar, we have average hourly earnings, non-farm employment change, and the unemployment rate, followed up at 10 o'clock by ISM non-manufacturing PMI. So that is a lot of news, actually, with much more news than we typically have on any given week. We typically do not have this many red star events. So this is going to be a news-packed week, and I do expect some volatility, which we really had a lot of volatility last week in the currency markets. One of the markets I'm looking at here is the USD JPY. As I've stated previously, we're going to have a lot of news coming into play, and this level I'm looking at is a retest of this area here, which is the low of last Monday, Tuesday, which is a 113.25, and then below that I have a 113.07 to 05 level that I'm looking for support. It's very possible that we never trade back to these levels and we end up ripping higher, but I'm thinking with all of the volatility, we could possibly trade lower and then back higher again. So I'm looking for us to right now, at this point in time, trade into those support levels and potentially look for a long setup at those levels, 113.25 to really 113.05. But if we do hold this current low that we really put into the end of the day on Friday, I do expect the USD JPY to break out of those highs on Friday and continue this bullish move we've seen over the last few weeks. Moving on to the USD CAD, which has also had a very clean, nice breakout over the last 2 weeks. I'm looking for a retest of this move up that began on Thursday, and there was some news that had came out on Wednesday. I believe there was a Fed, some kind of rate statement for the Bank of Canada, and the level I'm watching here is a 127.92, and then the bottom of my support level is a 127.51. So I've set some alerts here in the USD CAD, and with that news event this week, I do think we'll be able to trade into those and hopefully take advantage of that volatility. Moving on to the NASDAQ. Now, for anyone who wasn't paying attention last week, or specifically Friday, you had very big earnings reports out of some of the largest technology companies in the United States. You had Amazon, which had a 13% move to the upside and made Jeff Bezos the richest man in the world now. If you didn't see that, pretty cool, historical for sure. Then you also had Microsoft, Intel, and Google all have explosive moves to the upside, leading to one of the biggest gains into a new all-time high that we've seen since, I think, 2009. Well, I guess it's one of the biggest moves into a breakout in the highest volume. So this is, I don't think this is over. I do think, I have targets 70 points higher, so I'm still leaning really on the bull side in the NASDAQ here. And this is going to be one of my favorite markets to trade going into this week. We have Facebook earnings this week. I know Tesla's earnings are this week, and as well as Apple. So those are all fairly big companies that people will judge the NASDAQ on, especially Apple, obviously, and Facebook. Those are really the two big movers. So what I would like to do here is I've marked up this support level into 61.92, and I'm going to go ahead and just create alert right here. That is where I'm looking for us to pull back into. Now, I do think that we probably have a very tight range Monday, Tuesday, as the market digests that massive move we had on Friday, but I do expect these support levels to hold. So I'm focusing on NASDAQ really all week in longs just because of the move we have and the earnings season calendar. So right now my level is 61.92 to 61.94 for support in the NASDAQ. Then moving on to oil, which also had a large breakout. We have not seen these levels in oil traded in quite some time. You really have to go back to April really this year to look back when oil was traded this high. Now there is a lot of resistance up at this area that we had previously been unable to get through at the end of 2016 and the beginning of 2017. But this looks much more healthy than that consolidation did, the way we've moved up into it. And I'm really thinking that we could eventually break through those highs. But what I would like to do is buy the first pullback into a support level that I'm looking at. So I'm looking at potentially going long this 53.57 to 53.39 support level when it trades, and move down to a 15-minute chart and go ahead and create alerts at those levels. But I do think oil will continue higher from these support levels. Specifically, if you look at this 53.39, that's the bottom of this wick that really just kind of punched this market into new highs. So that's going to be very significant for me this week, and I'll probably even be willing to place a futures order there at 53.39. That's my biggest level for oil with the situation it's currently in, and that is going to conclude this week's Nadex video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, make sure to like this video on YouTube, as well as please subscribe to our YouTube channel for more valuable content at Major League Trading. Thank you very much. Everybody enjoy your week and trick or treat.